Terence Crawford, as we know him today, is one of the greatest fighters on the planet. Crawford has collected titles in 3 weight classes, from lightweight up to welterweight, creating a true legacy for himself. Here, we will focus on his run at light welterweight, where Crawford will clear out the division on his way to becoming the undisputed champion at 140 pounds. After bursting onto the scene, after Crawford would dethrone long-reigning lightweight champion Ricky Burns in his own backyard, Crawford would go on to seek out the best in the 135 pound division, picking up career-defining wins over unbeaten Cuban sensation Yuriorkis Gamboa before closing out his stay in the division with a win over the game veteran Raimundo Beltran, in which he would be crowned as the lineal champion in the division. Terence Crawford would move up in weight to look for new challenges. With his first fight in the division, Crawford would get a title fight in his first outing at 140 pounds. Crawford would make his light welterweight debut, challenging for the vacant WBO world title against Thomas Dulorme. The contest was a close affair up until the fight was stopped after Dulorme was knocked down 3 times in the 6th round, granting Crawford a technical knockout victory and the WBO world title. Next up, Crawford would make his first defence of his newly won crown in his hometown of Nebraska against Montreal-based contender Dierry. John's only previous loss as a professional had came in 2014 against former light welterweight champion Lamont Peterson. Crawford would go on to knock out John in the 10th round of their contest in front of an audience of 11,020 fans, with Crawford landing 169 total punches out of 533 that he had thrown, resulting in a 40% connection rate of his power shots. After the fight, Crawford stated that he was ready for the former 8-weight world champion Manny Pacquiao. Crawford's next fight took place before a sold-out crowd at the theatre of Madison Square Garden on the 27th of February 2016 against Hank Lundy. Panned as a second-rate fight for the undefeated Crawford, the bout picked up considerable steam in the weeks leading up to the fight, as Lundy boldly predicted that he was going to knock out Crawford. Crawford would go on to defend his light welterweight title with a 5th round knockout of Lundy, following a fast-paced start from Lundy, before Crawford would get to the American after finally sending Lundy down in the corner in the 5th round. Lundy would get up to beat the count before he would soon be stopped by referee Steve Willis, who called a halt to the action. With seemingly no one left for Crawford in the division besides the other champions to fight in his weight class, on the 3rd of May 2016 it was finally confirmed that Crawford and WBC champion Viktor Postol had officially signed a contract for their highly anticipated light welterweight unification on the 23rd of July at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Both fighters entered the ring with a match record of 28 wins and no losses. Crawford would go on to dominate the fight, winning the contest via unanimous decision, and unify both the WBO and WBC light welterweight world titles, and also claimed the vacant Ring Magazine and lineal world titles. In the fight, Crawford would score 2 flash knockdowns in the 5th round, with all scorecards reading 118 to 107 twice and 117 to 108. With this victory, Crawford staked his claim to division supremacy and set himself up for bigger fights, setting his sights again on welterweight great Manny Pacquiao at the time. After failing to make a unification matchup against IBF titleist Edward Troyanovsky, Crawford's promoter Bob Arum announced a deal was in place for a fight between Crawford and 33-year-old contender John Molina Jr., who was coming off a career best performance over former light welterweight champion Ruslan Provodnikov by unanimous decision over the Russian. At the weigh-in for the fight, John Molina would come in overweight, weighing in at 144 pounds, which meant he lost the right to fight for Crawford's world titles. The extra weight for Molina posed no threat for Crawford, who would hold on to his titles, stopping Molina in the 8th round of their fight in front of a large home crowd in Omaha. In the fight, Crawford moved around the ring for most of the fight, jabbing and pop-shotting Molina until referee Mark Nelson halted the fight in the 8th round after Molina would sustain an onslaught from Crawford. After failing again to unify the division, one of Crawford's mandatory challenges and the Olympic gold medalist Felix Diaz, who had been calling out Crawford, got everything that he had been asking for when terms were finally agreed for a showdown to take place on the 20th of May 2017. In this fight, Crawford would retain his titles once again after Diaz's trainer, Joel Diaz, stopped the fight in the 10th round, as towards the end of the fight, Diaz done next to nothing, largely leaning against the ropes. This was mostly due to his vision, as his right eye was nearly closed over and his left eye was also badly swollen. Crawford in this fight utilised his jab to perfection and controlled the pace of the fight for large portions of the contest, enabling him to pick up the victory. Following the contest, mentioned Crawford would likely fight again in the summer against unified light welterweight champion Julius Indongo, where the winner would be crowned as the undisputed light welterweight world champion. On the 1st of July 2017, Top Rank would announce that a light welterweight unification fight between WBC and WBO world light welterweight champion Terence Crawford and WBA and IBF world champion Julius Indongo was agreed upon to take place on August 19th at the Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln, Nebraska. The projected unification of every major world title in boxing in the four-belt era would determine the light welterweight division's first undisputed world champion since Costa Zoo back in 2004, and would be the first time all the aforementioned four major world titles had been at stake in one single fight since Bernard Hopkins vs Jermaine Taylor in 2005. Going into the fight, Crawford entered the bout as a heavy favourite to win. In front of his home crowd of 12,122 fans, Crawford became the undisputed champion at light welterweight after knocking Indongo down during the second round of the contest. Crawford would close up the show, knocking Indongo out in the 3rd round with a brutal body shot, which immediately dropped Indongo, with referee Jack Reese calling a stop to the action. Following Crawford's supremacy at 140 pounds, he would then move up in weight again to welterweight, in which he would capture the WBO title and is now in line to fight off for the undisputed crown at 147 pounds against long-term rival Errol Spence.